Tchaikovsky is the most relatable composer. Bro did concertos, thought he was garbage, did operas, hated his work, composed for ballet, unsatisfied, made symphonies, ended devastated. Never could he be enough, while every step of the way he composed masterpieces that speak to our hearts till this day. The story of how relatable he is has 6 chapters and starts with his first symphony, Winter Daydreams. While most composers have quite simple, shy first symphonies, only to later on explore deeper themes, Tchaikovsky brought us a very mature first symphony, almost as if overstepping himself. The initial tempo, which is allegro tranquillo, brings an unescapable sense of serenity to the room you play this in. But as the pace picks up, an anxious sense of urgency comes to define the piece. Yet it ends with andante lugubre at a walking pace, not overstepping itself, knowing where to end, how to position itself, knowing its limitations. It is a beautiful allegory of learning patience and moderation. It is as if, much like us, this piece, this symphony, had to learn how to be an adult. Now with the second symphony, Little Russian, Tchaikovsky showed us he got balls. You see, at the time, the Russian erudite elite had one vision for Russian music, where they would reject the Germanic and Western European musical traditions and influences that were so popular at the time, while also sort of rejecting a lot of Russia's traditional musical influences and just how diverse it was. They were in favor of an aristocratic, very snob, St. Petersburgian idea of Russian music, while Tchaikovsky stringed along some, but not all, of those Germanic influences. He took from those influences what he needed, while also taking from Russian folklore and native culture what was needed to create a symphony that in its defiant fervor became the single most Russian piece of music ever until Tchaikovsky discovered ballet. It is rigid and over-ambitious and is screaming with a sense of newfound liberty, as if we, with this piece, had left the early adulthood phase and are now carving something out of our own clay. Now with the third symphony, it is as if burnout is upon us. It is as if our best efforts are about to vanish. But it's not the same case for Tchaikovsky. This symphony is very dreamy and experimental in a way. The piece sounds like vertigo, in a way very similar to Mozart's Don Giovanni Overture, where the swinging pendulum of the winds are pulled by the gravity of the chords all the way down. But while Mozart in the Don Giovanni Overture completely abandons this motif and then he just embarks into a completely different one in pace and in tempo, Tchaikovsky expands on that like a true romantic. This is a very good piece to listen to if you're trying to understand Romantic era classical music. This was the first era where Western music was about intimate feelings being expressed in a melodically specific way. Classical era classical music was very much focused on almost, if not literally, mathematically stringing your heart along, and although there were some religious themes, and also music about poop, the emotional gap was yours to fill, not the composer's. Romantic era music is the exact opposite. Everything in it has a specific meaning pertaining to a melodic and thematic exploration, pertaining to the storytelling of it. Romantic era music is when the composer tells you each note was a heartbreak, each movement is a rejection, each type of instrument in the orchestra represents the places where I cried for her. Polish is a very simple piece that tells everything without saying much. You just gotta feel it. And then Tchaikovsky did what is arguably his best work ever. Is the best piece of music humankind will ever experience, written by Tchaikovsky and his inspirational muse, with whom he amazingly had no romantic feelings for. The many years of correspondence between the two tell the tale of companionship and artistic partnership that resulted in one of the most devastatingly touching pieces of Romantic era music. This symphony broke conventions by repeating the introductory theme, the Fate theme, again and again and again, and then expanding upon it even further in the second to last movement. An artist today can end their song with the same lyrics or the same sound that he started it. Well, that was not very common back then. I would say Tchaikovsky and Beethoven invented that. It was not done or popularized before. The tempo starts slow, then melancholic. It goes into scherzo and it ends allegro con fuoco, meaning it is extremely fast and energetic. It is a story on how to come to terms with your destiny, you must abandon who you were. And the pain that comes with that is something to be cherished, is something that you should relish on, like each moment of this masterpiece. So this symphony sounds like pain. It sounds like the kind of pain that one would yearn for and the kind of pain that one would gladly walk into. By the time we are at destiny predestination, we became adults, we embraced our destiny, and now we live it day by day. Different forms of andante are the tempo of all the movements in this piece, which is kind of funny because it means walking pace. So to have repeat in every single movement is as if this symphony is trying to tell us we need to learn how to walk on eggshells at this point. You need to learn how to traverse the path ahead in order to come to the realization of who you are meant to be. This symphony expands upon the themes of the previous one beautifully, as it takes us on a ride around the future we were promised through the future we were given. The coming to terms here is with reality itself, yet it is so optimistic, it is so upbeat, while still remaining very grounded. It touches on the essence that was left behind the previous chapters, as if to rescue it. I wouldn't blame you if at this point in the journey you came to conclude that you were who you were meant to be all along, and now you are just rejoicing in it. The same way that you can just rejoice in how optimistic this symphony is. And then we got the last one. It is said that on the night of its premiere, Tchaikovsky asked his brother what he thought of it, and he said it was pathetic. Tchaikovsky, being the self-deprecating, sad boy that he is, nicknamed the symphony as such, and he never made another symphony again. And in truth, this symphony is indeed pathetic. He was right. The excitement, the thematic exploration, the experimentation, and the boldness of the previous 2 to 3 symphonies were replaced with very slow tempos, an unambitious theme, and security. It was as if Tchaikovsky was playing safe for some reason. it starts at one point and it will trick you into believing that it will go somewhere else and the pace is going to pick up, but it doesn't. It lets down anyone who was previously hyped, and yet, this is so damn beautiful. If you were to cry to any of these symphonies, it will be this one. It is the mastery of the word poignant in musical form, in its pathetic nature, in its mediocrity. This symphony still manages to be a resounding realization. Even in mediocrity, there can be greatness. Even in disappointment, there can be joy. Even in failure, there can be a resolve. I have the habit of thinking of people as pieces of classical music. And time again, I think of myself as pathetic, in the literal sense, really, but I try to be more pathetic like this symphony. Because then, there's still a melody worth listening to at the end of the day, right? Perhaps then my voice is worth the sound that it makes. And with this, Tchaikovsky is relatable because his work is relatable. We are all pathetic in many ways. We all go through pathetic things, but life is still a melody. So let yourself listen to and enjoy the symphony that is yours. I don't think I can express enough how much I love Tchaikovsky. This whole story, by the way, with his brother naming it, saying that it was pathetic, I don't think it's proven. I don't think that actually happened, but I love to believe that it did. I don't know, I don't remember where I read this, but it was years ago, over a decade ago. I can also not express just how thankful I am if you're still watching this. This is amazing. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for many weeks, and I just thought that I would just sit in front of the computer and make some social media posts. I made these posts on Pifi, the social media platform, and I was just reading it out loud for this video. I think it's amazing, actually, just how many times I have an idea and it's very convoluted, but then when I type it down, be it on Patreon or on social media, then I just condense the idea into a bite size, and I make it easier for me to transmit whatever it is that I'm trying to say, while also making it easier for you guys to just listen to. So if you're still watching, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with a friend. The biggest difficulty that I have with this channel is just sharing my stuff because I am banned on Reddit, and that's where I would get most of my views, from Reddit, but I cannot share my stuff over there anymore. So I kind of don't really know what to do. I've been sharing it on Pifi and TikTok, and it has been shown to actually, yeah, it has been great. Yeah, I earned a lot of subscribers, and I will be making a video on this social media platform soon. But yeah, share this video with a friend. I think I've talked too much already, so I'm just gonna go, and I will see you maybe tomorrow, but certainly this week.
Rest in peace, my granny, she got hit by a bazooka. Yeah, I think about her every time I hit that hookah. Kaboom, kablow, kaboom. I was in my room trying to teach my little sister. Then I heard that boom and it sounded like a missile.